Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're not just celebrating Survivor's enduring legacy as, a cultural phenomenon. We're actually peeling back the layers to reveal the intricate, often startling machinery that makes one of television's most beloved reality competitions tick. Forget what you think you know about the raw island life. We're uncovering secrets from casting's toughest gatekeepers to the unseen crews and the ironclad rulebook that truly dictates every twist and turn.
Indeed. While we, the viewers, typically see the island, the alliances, and those dramatic tribal councils, what often remains hidden is the vast, intricate machinery behind the scenes. That machinery shapes every single moment, every strategic whisper, and every emotional breakdown we see.
Right.
Our mission today is to pull back that bamboo curtain, revealing the surprising realities of what it truly takes to even get on the show, and then what life is really like for contestants and the often overlooked crew, plus the exhaustive, sometimes baffling rulebook that governs nearly every interaction and decision.
We're going to unpack this using an incredible stack of sources. We've got casting insights straight from Jeff Probst himself, revealing how he thinks about building a compelling cast. It's fascinating stuff. We've also delved into behind-the-scenes leaks from former contestants and crew members who've, been in the trenches, offering these really candid perspectives. And we've analyzed explicit rule breakdowns that detail the comprehensive contracts players sign, shedding light on the expectations and limitations. So, get ready for some major aha moments, because what we're about to uncover might just change how you watch Survivor forever, revealing a layer of complexity and control you probably never knew existed. Okay, let's unpack this first part. For anyone dreaming of becoming the next sole survivor, that journey into the heart of the game, into the elements and the social dynamics, well, it all starts with one crucial piece of content, your audition video. Our sources describe it as your pivotal first impression, your spotlight moment. It's not just a submission, it's the gatekeeper, the very first and often most critical hurdle in a long selection process.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is that it's not just about showcasing impressive survival skills, like building a fire with 2 sticks or catching a fish with your bare hands. I mean, while a quick demonstration of capability might catch an eye, the real goal is to convey your unique personality. You need to demonstrate your undeniable fit for the show's dynamic and often cutthroat environment, and, maybe most importantly, what truly sets you apart. You're up against tens of thousands of applicants who flood CBS with their hopes and dreams every single year.
Tens of thousands, wow.
Yeah. It's about being truly memorable for the right reasons in just an overwhelming sea of hopefuls.
And here's where it gets surprising, especially if you think a rough, grainy video adds to that authentic survival vibe. Our sources stress that high video quality is crucial. And this is just a technicality. It sounds like it's basically non-negotiable.
Absolutely. It's about making your unique story, your abilities, and your authentic self stand out vividly through a clear, well-lit, and engaging presentation. They even mention the prevalence of services that help compress these massive video files, often between 2 to 5 gigabytes, apparently down to the required 50 megabytes.
5 gigs down to 50 megs.
Right. And quickly, sometimes in as little as 20 minutes, which really tells you something about the sheer volume they're dealing with. Think about it. A brilliant personality could be missed entirely if their video can't even be easily reviewed by the team. It's a stark reminder that even in the pursuit of authenticity, these technical barriers can be a surprising first filter.
Okay, so high-quality video is key. What about the content itself? What not to do?
Good question. Past players and casting directors are remarkably clear on this. They warn against, generic silly dances or short, uninsightful clips, like someone just working out for 15 seconds or trying to look tough by, shooting a gun.
Like the stuff that doesn't tell you anything.
Exactly. The casting team apparently receives countless TikTok-style videos that offer absolutely no real insight into the applicant's life, their personality, or why they want to play Survivor. You absolutely don't want to be that person. It's an immediate red flag, they say. Don't be lazy. Fill the recommended 3 minutes with substance, genuine personality, and a clear narrative about who you are. And crucially, they are very strict on this. Don't read from a script.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the casting producers will know right away if you're not speaking naturally. They want everything to flow authentically from the heart. Maintain eye contact with the camera, create a genuine connection, have a rough idea of what you want to say, maybe some key bullet points, but let your true self shine through.
Okay, so let's say your meticulously crafted, high-quality video manages to cut through the noise of those hundreds weekly and survives that initial critical review. What happens next? What's the very next hurdle in this intensely competitive selection process?
Okay, so if you make that initial cut, you'll get that all-important call, the preliminary interview. This is more of a deeper dive into the practicalities.
Yeah.
Your availability for filming for over a month, sometimes longer, your unwavering commitment to the show's often grueling demands, and your core motivations for wanting to join Survivor in the first place.
So like logistical stuff mostly.
Pretty much. You need to be ready to discuss any responsibilities you have, work, family, health, that might affect your participation. And you absolutely must express genuine, unbridled enthusiasm for the adventure ahead. They want to see that passion. After this preliminary chat, successful candidates receive detailed questionnaires and comprehensive forms. This is a crucial and apparently exhaustive step.
More forms, great.
Exactly. It's for providing a deep, comprehensive overview of your background, your personality, and even your potential strategy for the game. This information is so vital, so thoroughly cataloged, that our sources reveal it could even populate your future Survivor wiki page if you're ultimately cast.
Wow, really? So they're building your profile right from the start.
Essentially, yes. It provides the basis for how the show introduces you to the world.
Okay, then come the Zoom interviews you mentioned. This sounds like where they really dig in.
That's right. This is where casting truly goes beyond the surface, moving past the initial video and phone call. They're looking to truly examine your character, your life experiences, and precisely how you genuinely plan to play the game. You're encouraged to be genuine and insightful.
What does genuine and insightful mean in practice? Are they looking for a specific type of insight or just, raw honesty?
It's about revealing the true depth of your personality and strategic mind, yes. But it's also about demonstrating self-awareness. They want to see that you understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you might interact under extreme pressure. This stage is about proving you're more than just a good audition tape. You're a complex individual, ready for the intense social and physical rigors of the game.
And you mentioned different roles in casting.
Right. Our sources provide a fascinating look at that. You have the casting team members, who are essentially your advocates. They're the ones who find and support potential contestants through these initial stages. Their goal is to shepherd compelling candidates through the process and present them effectively to the ultimate decision maker.
Which is?
The casting director, currently Jesse Tannenbaum. He makes the critical final decisions on who advances to the next stages. He weighs recommendations from the team members, but the final choice rests solely with him. It highlights just how meticulous and multi-layered the selection process is.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The strategy behind applying. It's not just about being yourself or even the best version of yourself, like you said. It's about presenting a specific version of yourself that aligns with the show's narrative needs. Casting director Jeff Probst himself openly advises applicants to lean into your archetype.
Yeah, that's a huge piece of advice. He stated that they deliberately cast types, the wise mentor, the compassionate father figure, the quirky, crazy cat lady, the heroic Captain America, or even the morally ambiguous con man.
Right, because it's a TV show.
Exactly. This isn't just a game, it's a television show, and they want to tell a perfect story with a diverse cast of characters that fit established narrative molds. So understanding what archetype you might naturally fit and leaning into that in your application can apparently significantly boost your chances.
So understanding that Survivor casts archetypes isn't just about application strategy. It's like a peek behind the curtain at how reality TV constructs its reality.
It really is. It implies that narrative arcs are, to some extent, predetermined or at least heavily influenced by those initial casting choices. When you see a hero or a villain emerge, are they truly acting spontaneously, or are they maybe consciously or unconsciously fulfilling a role they were subtly cast for?
That's a deep question.
It's not about faking a persona, they stress, but rather identifying your most television-ready traits and amplifying them. If you're genuinely a supportive, maternal figure, lean into that. If you're a quick-witted strategist, highlight that. The casting team isn't looking for actors, but for individuals whose authentic selves fit neatly into the narrative roles they envision for the season.
Which leads to that other piece of advice that seems almost contradictory. Highlight the best version of yourself.
Exactly. You only have those 3 minutes in the audition video to truly make yourself pop on television. While you must be yourself, you need to be your most energetic self, your most charismatic, compelling, and memorable self. Our sources recommend meticulously analyzing successful audition tapes, like Zach Vertenberger from season 42, who famously dissected numerous past successful tapes to understand what makes them special.
But don't copy them.
Right, don't outright copy. It's about learning the art of the audition, not plagiarizing it.
And for those folks who've applied before, maybe even multiple times and kind of given up hope, what do the sources say?
Well, there's a clear message of hope. Keep trying. The casting director confirms that the casting process is all about timing.
Yeah.
Many incredibly popular and successful players on recent seasons have apparently been applying for years, some even for over a decade before finally getting the call.
Wow, a decade. That's dedication.
It is. So if you've been persistent, if this is truly your life's mission, if you still dream of hearing probes say, "The tribe has spoken," don't lose hope. Our sources explicitly state you still have a chance at Survivor 49, which is pretty encouraging for those persistent superfans out there.
Now, there's also this mention of a controversial figure, Adam Klein, a former winner. What's the deal there?
Yeah, this is interesting. He's known for advising applicants, specifically on having a deep, pre-planned understanding of why you are the way you are for confessionals. It suggests a highly introspective and almost scripted approach to your on-screen narrative and emotional responses. However, our sources explicitly state that Jeff Probst and the entire Survivor casting team are vehemently against the work that Adam does. They go as far as to say that if they get a whiff that you worked with Adam, they will probably reject you on the spot.
Seriously, reject you on the spot.
That's what the sources claim. It hints at the significant tension between external coaching, which Probst apparently views as hacking the system or trying to engineer authenticity, and the show's desire for pure, uncoached, raw authenticity, which they believe is absolutely essential for genuine storytelling and unexpected character developments. It truly underscores their commitment, or at least their stated commitment, to finding raw, unpolished talent, untainted by pre-game coaching.
Okay, so let's say you navigate all that, avoid the coaching pitfalls, impress the casting director. You make past the videos, the calls, the Zooms.
Yeah.
You're headed to L.A.
Yes. Los Angeles for the most critical evaluations. This stage isn't just about physical readiness, though extensive medical and psychological assessments are definitely key. They're rigorously checking to ensure you can handle the extreme conditions, the hunger, the sleep deprivation, the immense social pressure. It's a huge hurdle.
But it's more than just physical and mental toughness checks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Crucially, this stage is about testing the authenticity of your character under immense scrutiny. Interviews at this stage, particularly with Survivor icons like Jeff Probst and key CBS executives, are described as rigorous examinations. They're designed to discern if you're presenting a facade or if you are genuinely yourself.
How do they even do that?
Well, the casting team, including Probst himself and the show's dedicated psychologists, are apparently adept at identifying any veneer of persona that applicants might adopt. You know, trying to appear more appealing or fit a certain archetype they think the show wants. If they sense even a hint of inauthenticity, any discrepancy between the person they see and the person you claim to be, it could definitively end your journey right there.
So that casting team member who advocated for you earlier, are they still involved?
Yes, your designated casting team member is there to support you, offering guidance and a familiar face, which must be somewhat comforting. But ultimately, it's truly your genuine, unvarnished self that must shine through. This is the ultimate crucible for aspiring castaways.
And then the final cut.
The final selection narrows it down to around 18 finalists and 3 backups. These are the chosen few who will step onto that iconic beach, ready to outwit, outplay, and outlast. It's the culmination of that entire intense process, a journey that begins with that initial video and ends with this small, elite group deemed ready for Survivor.
Okay, so you've survived the gauntlet, the self-tapes, the Zooms, the intense psyche evils in L.A. You're in. But the moment your feet touch that remote beach, the illusion of Survivor truly begins to unfold, revealing this stark contrast between what we see on screen and the unseen world orchestrated around you. Let's pull back that bamboo curtain on what life is really like once you're on the island, not just for the players, but for the entire production crew.
Right. While contestants are roughing it on the beach, dealing with the relentless elements, what about the crew making it all happen? Our sources paint a fascinating picture. Jeff Probst and the entire crew often stay in hotels or even temporary tent cities, depending on how remote the location is.
Tent cities, like actual tents.
Apparently so, in some really remote spots. They have meals in a large catering tent, which opens as early as 4 a.m. This ensures the film crew is fed and ready to capture every sunrise moment, every strategic discussion that starts at dawn.
Which must be a stark contrast to the contestants' diet.
Oh, absolutely. It's a clear divide between the reality for the players and the logistical reality for the production.
And those incredible, elaborate challenges, they always look so polished and intense.
They don't just magically appear. Survivor has its own dream team, a dedicated group of young, incredibly fit crew members. They run through and test every single challenge at least twice.
Twice. Why twice?
Well, first, they do it to ensure the challenge works as intended, to identify any potential safety issues, and crucially, to figure out the best camera angles for capturing all the drama. You know, the close finishes, the falls, all that good stuff.
Makes sense. And the second run.
This is where it gets really interesting for us as viewers. They are filmed as if they are the contestants, with Probst explaining the challenge in his iconic voice. This provides the stock footage you see on screen as he describes the task to the real players, giving the impression that he's explaining it live to them for the first time.
So when Probst is explaining it on TV,
That's often footage of the dream team running it, yeah. The actual explanation to the contestants happens differently. Off camera, challenge producer John Kirchhofer, the guy who designs all the games, takes each tribe separately through the entire challenge in meticulous detail. He answers any and every question they might have, no matter how small. This can take quite a while, ensuring there's no ambiguity.
and someone from legal is there too.
Yep, someone from CBS's Standards and Practices Division, their legal and fairness team, is also present during these detailed walkthroughs. They make sure each tribe receives the exact same information, preventing any perceived advantage or disadvantage from differing explanations. It highlights the show's commitment to competitive integrity, even amidst all the entertainment goals.
Okay, the show's motto is outwit, outplay, outlast, suggesting this raw, spontaneous fight. But our sources reveal a tension between that raw survival and highly controlled production. Like, contestants are never alone, apparently, not even for a moment.
Almost never, unless doing their business, and even then, often with a subtle nod to production first. Film crews work day and night, constantly taking shifts, operating from camouflaged areas to avoid missing anything. This continuous surveillance isn't just for capturing compelling footage, it's also, crucially, for the castaway's safety.
Which must be incredibly taxing for the players, knowing every whisper could be caught.
Absolutely. This constant filming means players agree to be filmed at all times and have no expectations of privacy when they sign their contract. It's a full immersion into the reality of reality TV, a complete surrender to the lens. However, our sources do clarify they are granted privacy for using the restroom or changing clothes if they explicitly seek it out. Production understands basic human needs.
But the default is always camera on.
The default is always camera on. It highlights the profound commitment required from participants to essentially live their lives for public consumption for weeks on end.
And what about getting to challenges or tribal council? We see them walking dramatically.
Yeah, that's purely for the show's narrative flow and visual impact. Walking through dense jungle or along a picturesque beach looks great. In reality, they are shuttled there by production in vehicles, sometimes even boats, to save valuable time and manage complex logistics, especially in remote locations.
Okay, so no long treks through the jungle necessarily.
Not usually for transport, no. And crucially, they're prohibited from any talk or gameplay when being transported off camera. This is a strict rule to prevent strategies or alliances from being discussed that cannot be filmed. It ensures all gameplay happens where the cameras can capture it, maintaining the integrity of the on-screen narrative for us viewers.
Now, the sources also mention some shady things CBS wants us to ignore. That sounds juicy.
Yeah, it definitely challenges the perception of Survivor as pure, unadulterated reality. For example, the show sometimes casts models or actors. They're sometimes dubbed mactors, a mix of model and acting.
Actors.
This apparently happens due to a lack of qualified applicants in a given year who might naturally fit certain archetypes they're looking for. While these individuals still go through the full, rigorous casting process, it does suggest a deliberate effort sometimes to find aesthetically pleasing or dramatically inclined individuals rather than purely authentic superfans or everyday people.
To fulfill specific narrative roles, maybe.
That seems to be the implication, yeah.
And here's a big one that really challenges the premise of reality. Mark Burnett, the executive producer, admitted to reenacting scenes to get better shots.
Yes. And furthermore, body doubles have even been used for the same reason. This isn't just a fun fact, it fundamentally challenges the whole idea of reality in reality television. If even the most dramatic, supposedly unscripted moments are reshot for better angles.
It kind of shifts Survivor from a purely observational documentary into more of a meticulously crafted cinematic narrative.
Precisely. It makes us, the viewers, question. Are we truly watching an unvarnished social experiment? Or a brilliantly produced drama, carefully constructed to maximize emotional payoff?
Which leads to the other big question. Is the show rigged?
Ah, the reeking question.
Yeah.
It's persisted for years. Way back in 2001, Stacey Stillman from Season 1 famously sued CBS and Mark Burnett. She claimed her exit was orchestrated and that Burnett manipulated votes to keep certain players, like Rudy Boesch, in the game longer.
What happened with that lawsuit?
It was ultimately settled out of court with undisclosed terms, but it highlights these long-standing allegations of behind-the-scenes manipulation. Adding to this perception, probes and the producers watch votes via a live feed as they're cast at tribal council, and they decide the exact order in which votes are read.
It's not random.
Nope, not random at all. It's specifically done to create maximum suspense and dramatic tension for the viewers. It's a key part of their narrative crafting, potentially influencing the dramatic reveal.
Okay, let's talk money. The stakes are high, obviously the million-dollar prize, but others get paid too.
Oh yeah, even if you're the first person eliminated, you still make money. Allegedly $12,500, according to former contestant Johnny Fairplay, plus an additional $10,000 for attending the live finale and reunion taping.
That's not bad for being the first boot.
Not at all. Jury members reportedly make a substantial $40,000. While the winner gets the million, the runner-up pockets $100,000, and the third-place finisher gets $85,000. But, and this is important, players are explicitly liable for paying taxes on their winning.
Of course. Uncle Sam always gets his cut.
Always. And conspiring to share winnings between castaways is strictly prohibited within their contracts. This is crucial to prevent pregame deals from distorting the competitive integrity of the prize itself. They want people playing for the win, not a guaranteed payout.
And that confidentiality agreement sounds intense. A $5 million penalty.
Yeah, it's incredibly strict. They enter a binding contract agreeing not to defame, disparage the show, or critically spoil anything about their season's outcome or events. That massive warning, the $5 million one, shows just how seriously CBS takes intellectual property and spoiler control. They have to protect their valuable content.
And they enforce it.
Oh, they do. Alec Merlino from Season 37 learned that the hard way. He posted a photo with a fellow competitor on social media before his season even aired. It effectively spoiled their relationship and revealed they'd made it far enough to spend time together post-game. As a consequence, while he didn't face the $5 million lawsuit, he was very publicly disinvited from the live finale.
Wow. A powerful demonstration.
Absolutely. It shows the network's strict enforcement and the severe repercussions for breaking those rules.
Okay, so the minute you're cast, you sign this contract. We heard you don't sign anything to apply, but once you're in?
Right. Once you're officially accepted onto the cast, you are obligated to sign a contract. And it's no mere handshake agreement. Our sources describe it as a meticulously detailed 9-page legal document. It outlines everything from pay to prohibited behavior to clearly defining the expectations of privacy, or rather the lack thereof, for your entire time involved with the show.
A 9-page contract.
Sounds thorough.
Very. It's a binding legal agreement that governs every single aspect of your participation.
What about basic requirements? Age, physical condition.
There's a minimum age of 16, interestingly, though there's no official maximum age limit. Remember Rudy Boesch? He competed at 72 and then again at 75.
An absolute legend, truly. While there isn't a formal checklist of physical requirements, like you don't have to run a 6-minute mile or anything, you absolutely must be able to handle living in a real jungle for weeks. Facing extreme heat, humidity, insects, lack of food, it's intense. You also need to be agile enough to handle the various elements you see in challenges, which often involve climbing, swimming, obstacle courses. Any past injuries or specific physical conditions must be thoroughly discussed with the show's medical doctors and fully cleared by their team.
So health and safety are a big deal.
Oh, very seriously, according to sources. They would never put someone on the show they didn't believe was fully capable of lasting the entire time without significant risk.
And before they even hit the beach, there's Survivor School. What's that about?
Yeah, before the game officially begins, they attend this Survivor School. It's conducted by one of the show's most experienced producers. But it's not a comprehensive wilderness survival course. It's more of a basic overview.
Basic how?
Fundamental shelter building ideas, rudimentary principles of fire making, basic hygiene tips like rinsing in the ocean, identifying common edible plants, and general jungle safety guidelines. Our sources note it's only a basic overview, which is precisely why you still see so many players struggling with these fundamental skills once they're truly left to their own devices.
Right, because knowing how and actually doing it under pressure are totally different.
Exactly. It's one thing to be shown how to tie a knot in a classroom, quite another to build a waterproof shelter when you're exhausted, starving, and it's pouring rain.
Wardrobe sounds surprisingly controlled, too. They bring their own clothes, but producers have the final say.
Yep, tightly controlled. You bring options, but producers make the final call on what you actually wear to camp. They ensure camera-friendly colors, avoiding things that blend in or clash visually, and strictly prohibit any corporate logos or overt branding.
And the goal is for the clothing to represent the person.
Ideally, yes. Unique to who they are as a person, representing your personality or even your profession. Think lawyer Nick's suit in season 37. They also meticulously aim for the same amount of coverage and warmth for all players to prevent any perceived unfair advantage from extra layers or special materials. And you can't wear the same color shirts as others in your tribe, obviously, for visual differentiation on screen.
And if you argue about your clothes?
Producers even admit that if you push back too hard on your wardrobe, it's a sign to us that they may not be quite ready for the show.
Wow, a test of adaptability right there.
Seems like it. It indicates a lack of willingness to adhere to production's vision.
And then the searches before they start.
Yeah.
Including script searches.
That's right. Before any competition begins, before they even step onto that beach, contestants undergo a rigorous process. They are thoroughly searched. This is to ensure no food, matches, or other contraband is smuggled onto the island. And yes, this includes strip searches, a drastic measure that became mandatory after Richard Hatch famously smuggled matches, let's just say creatively, in Survivor. All-Stars.
Ah, yes, the infamous butt matches incident.
Exactly. That led to an unfair advantage in fire-making, so this drastic measure, still in place today, underscores how seriously production takes maintaining the integrity of the game and its stripped-down survival premise. Nothing left to chance.
Okay, daily life. Hygiene sounds rough. No toothbrushes. No soap.
This is where the reality often hits home for players in a very uncomfortable and, frankly, unsanitary way. Unfortunately for players, toothbrushes, toilet paper, soap, and other personal hygiene items must be left at home. Full stop.
So how do they stay clean?
They literally have to rinse off in the ocean to stay as clean as possible, which, as you can imagine, isn't very effective against grime and sweat. Jeff Probst even playfully admits the grim reality. The jungle and the ocean are your options.
Yeah.
And he mentioned aquadumps, the practice of contestants defecating directly into the ocean, are quite popular.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's raw.
It underscores the extreme lack of basic hygiene facilities and the raw, sometimes gross, deprivation that is a core, unglamorous part of the Survivor experience. It forces players to adapt to truly primitive conditions.
Are there any exceptions to the hygiene rules?
A few compassionate ones, yes. Feminine products, birth control, vital medicines, contact lens solution, and sunscreen are allowed. But even these are carefully managed and often limited. One contestant famously claimed she had to wait nearly a full day for a tampon restock.
A full day? Why?
Because the crew had to travel to a nearby village for supplies. It highlights the logistical challenges even for essential items in these remote locations. Knowing this severe lack of basic amenities, some competitors even resort to pre-show treatments like laser hair removal or extensive teeth whitening.
Ah, planning ahead.
Exactly. Anticipating that these items won't be provided and wanting to mitigate the visible effects of weeks without proper hygiene.
And food. Obviously scarce.
Incredibly scarce. Players may receive meager food supplies such as small sacks of rice, beans, which are carefully rationed by production. These are often supplemented only by whatever they can successfully forage or fish from the environment. Significant weight loss is not just expected, but an inherent, unavoidable part of the experience. We're talking 20-30 pounds average for men, slightly less for women.
It's designed to be a real test.
Absolutely. A true test of physical and mental endurance, pushing players to their absolute limits. And while winning food rewards from challenges offers a temporary reprieve and a much-needed calorie boost.
There's a catch.
There's a catch. These rewards must be consumed where they are served and in a specific amount of time. You can't bring leftovers back to camp to share or save for later. Once the time is up, the reward is finished. It reinforces the temporary nature of any relief from hunger.
What about luxury items? Are those still a thing?
Yes, the luxury items tradition continues, allowing a small personal comfort in that otherwise deprived environment. Each participant is allowed two, But Probes stresses they are typically emotional items like a family photo or a picture of your dog or a special necklace that has deep personal meaning.
So nothing useful for survival.
Definitely not.
Uh,
Crucially, luxury items are never anything related to survival. You absolutely cannot bring protein bars, a sharp knife, flint and steel, nothing like that. It's purely for emotional comfort, designed to keep a player grounded or offer a psychological boost, reinforcing the reliance on the environment and your own wits for actual survival.
okay, gameplay interactions. Tribes can't just wander over and visit each other.
Nope. Tribes are not allowed to visit other tribes unless it's explicitly part of the season's creative direction, like a specific twist introduced by Probst. This rule is rigorously enforced to prevent unfilmed interactions that could affect alliances, strategy, or dynamics that aren't captured by the cameras. Since tribes typically live on different islands or in remote, separated sections of a single island, opportunities for unauthorized contact are inherently limited anyway, but the rule underscores the show's control over the narrative.
And players have free reign of their own island area, mostly.
Almost free reign, yes. They can explore their surroundings, strategize, hunt for idols, but there are always small, specific, off-limit areas. These are typically where crew gear is kept, or production has set up their base camp, or areas deemed unsafe for unmonitored exploration. The goal, according to Probst, is to make their experience as authentic as possible. They shouldn't stumble upon cables or catering tents that break the illusion.
Right, maintain the immersion.
Exactly. For the contestants, which in turn enhances the reality for us viewers.
What about interacting with each other's stuff? Stealing versus searching.
Okay, this is interesting. Stealing personal items from other players is strictly prohibited, so you can't just swipe someone's water bottle or buff. However, searching is allowed. This is a crucial distinction.
So you can go through someone's bag looking for an idol.
Yes. If you suspect someone has a hidden idol or an advantage, you can search their belongings. This leads to those intense, sneaky moments we often see. But here's the kicker, a rule that often surprises fans. If you find something valuable, like an idol or a secret advantage, you can't take the item physically.
You can't take it, so what's the point?
You can only use the information you gain from finding it. You know they have it, maybe who they plan to use it with, but you can't physically possess it. It creates this incredibly interesting strategic dilemma and prevents simple theft from being a viable game move.
Challenges have strict rules too. You mentioned the sitting out rule change.
Right. A new rule after season 44 says you can't sit out 2 challenges in a row. This was a direct response to a contestant sitting out 3 straight, raising fairness questions. It shows the rulebook is a living document, constantly adapting. Also, in individual challenges, where everyone's usually competing separately, physically assisting other castaways is strictly forbidden. Success has to be earned individually.
And interacting with the crew. Big no-no.
Huge no-no. Contestants know not to communicate with the crew unless they are speaking to a producer during their private interviews or with the host at challenges and tribal council. That's it. If a player asks a camera operator for the time or asks a sound guy a question,
What happens?
they'll most likely be met with an awkward silence or maybe just a pointed stare. This strict no interaction policy ensures the experience to be pure, preventing any outside aid, info, or even emotional comfort that could compromise the game.
But here's a weird one. They only have to be honest with producers in interviews, not with Probst.
Isn't that fascinating? Players are only required to be honest with the producers during those private confessional interviews. And this is primarily so the production team can understand their motivations, strategies, and emotions to tell a coherent story for the audience. But when it comes to actual gameplay or talking with Jeff Probst himself during challenges or tribal council, that honesty requirement completely vanishes.
Probst himself said he doesn't care if they lie to him.
He did. He famously said, "You can lie directly to me. I might not even know you're lying. I don't even care. I just want any story to track." It reveals that the show values a compelling, coherent narrative over absolute factual truth in contestant interactions, as long as it makes for good TV and fits the dramatic arc. Storytelling is king.
Okay, post-game. What happens when you're voted off? You don't just fly home.
Not right away. If you're voted off after the merge and become a jury member, you go to Ponderosa. It's described as a fascinating and often quite luxurious private resort with a full staff, tons of food, hot showers, activities like massages or excursions.
Sounds better than being on the island.
Definitely a step up. This is where you stay until the very end of the show. It lets you recover physically and mentally, process the game, and crucially, start forming your opinions for that final vote for the winner.
And what about the pre-jury boots? The people voted out early.
They also stay for the duration of production, primarily to avoid any potential spoilers leaking out to the real world before the season airs. So effectively, they get an all-expenses-paid trip to Fiji after being voted out. A rather nice consolation prize, allowing them to relax in paradise without the stress of the game.
And those cool immunity idols. Players used to keep them.
They did. If you were voted off holding an idol, you used to get to keep it as a souvenir. But that's no longer the case. Several years ago, we realized that we might want to use those idols again in the future for new twists or seasons, so now we take them back and keep them. Might sound harsh to players wanting a memento.
But production wants to reuse them.
Exactly. As Pripst puts it, ideas are everything on Survivor, and they want as many creative options as possible for future seasons, constantly innovating and repurposing game elements.
What about quitting? What are the consequences?
Quitting, while rare, is a very serious matter. It's considered a violation of their contract and can result in severe penalties. Specifically, it can lead to exclusion from the jury if they quit during the jury phase so they don't get a vote. And perhaps more significantly, it can also result in the withholding of their consolation prize, that appearance fee money.
When did that rule come in?
That was a strict rule introduced after 2 controversial quits back in Season 21 in Nicaragua, which sparked a lot of public outcry at the time. It demonstrates the show's firm stance against players abandoning the game prematurely. They want commitment to the competition.
Okay, despite this massive rulebook, breaches and exemptions happen. They're part of the show's history, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're often dramatic and memorable parts of Survivor lore, adding to the unpredictability. Right from Season 1, Richard Hatch, the eventual winner, was asked to redo his vote when his tribe jokingly voted for Probst. Production had to step in even then. And then in All-Stars, Season 8, Hatch's infamous match smuggling incident.
The butt matches again.
Yes, a truly audacious move giving him an unfair advantage. It was so notorious, it directly led to those mandatory strip searches for all contestants before filming begins, a rule still strictly in place. Shows how far players will go.
Environmental rules sound strict too. Colby and the coral?
Yes, environmental rules are taken very seriously, respecting local laws and ecosystems. Colby Donaldson in Season 2, the Australian Outback, violated Australian federal law by removing coral from the Great Barrier Reef during a reward. Seemed minor, maybe, but CBS got fined $100,000, a huge penalty emphasizing environmental preservation.
And John Carroll in Season 4.
Right, in the Marquesas, Season 4. He defecated in the ocean, apparently a common practice for contestants with no facilities, but it violated local French law. Probst himself had to issue a stern warning that the local government would kick the entire production out of the country if it continued. Real-world consequence.
Players get creative trying to bend rules too. Jenna's hat, Ozzy's swim trunks.
Yeah, incredibly creative, driven by that desire to win. Jenna Maraska, in Season 6, The Amazon, deliberately brought a hat with thin metal wire sewn into the brim. She subtly extracted it and used it for fishing hooks, a crucial food advantage.
Clever.
Very. And then there's Ozzy Lust in Season 16, Micronesia. He allegedly smuggled dental floss, a small magnifying glass, and even sleeping pills by meticulously sewing them into his swim trunk seams. Producers were reportedly baffled how he started fires so easily, suspecting a lighter, only later learning he was allegedly using the smuggled magnifying glass. Astonishing ingenuity under pressure.
Interaction rules also cause drama.
Yeah.
Snacks at Tribal.
Yeah.
Burning socks.
Yeah, testing boundaries is constant. Brendan Sinnott and Tyson Apostle in Season 18, Tocantins, famously smuggled snacks from Ponderosa back to Tribal Council, caused a stir, leading to all future jurors being patted down before Tribal to prevent contraband. And Russell Hantz in Season 19, Samoa, known for his villainy, went further by burning a pair of socks belonging to another contestant. Pure sabotage.
Was he penalized for that?
Interestingly, no. Despite the clear malicious intent, he wasn't penalized, which raises questions about selective rule enforcement and what production allows for good television.
Modern seasons have had issues too. Jackson Fox in 42.
Right, a dramatic evacuation on day 1. He didn't disclose his lithium usage until the day before filming started, after the alternates had gone home, created a significant health risk due to potential withdrawal during the game, forcing an unprecedented medical evacuation.
And the podcast issue in Season 44.
Yeah, 2 contestants, Carolyn Waker and Carson Garrett, started a podcast revealing extensive behind-the-scenes info less than a year after their season aired, much like a similar incident years ago from Survivor. Thailand, CBS promptly and firmly shut it down. reiterates those strict NDAs and the serious consequences, even long after filming.
The show itself introduces controversial twists too, right? Like bringing people back.
Oh yeah, production isn't afraid to gamble with format changes, sometimes leading to backlash. In Pearl Islands, Season 7, eliminated castaways were famously brought back for a chance to return without the remaining contestants knowing. Huge twist, fundamentally altering dynamics. It stirred controversy similar to later iterations like Redemption Island and Edge of Extinction. Both of those received mixed to negative response for undermining the finality of being voted out and letting eliminated players re-enter, often frustrating those who stayed in the whole time.
And the haves versus have-nots twist in Fiji, Season 14. That sounded rough.
One of the most heavily criticized twists ever. One tribe got luxuries, lavish shelter, beds, food, while the other got just a machete and a pot. It predictably resulted in a lopsided pre-merge competition. The rich tribe dominated challenges due to better condition and morale, felt really unbalanced.
Did probes like it?
Apparently not. Pros reportedly showed disdain for it, recognizing its unfairness, but was overruled by Mark Burnett, the executive producer. Burnett had used a similar twist on The Apprentice, highlights those internal creative tensions and who has the final say.
And maybe the most talked about recent change, the Final Four Fire-Making Challenge.
Introduced controversially in Season 35, heroes versus healers versus hustlers. Still a hot topic.
Yeah.
In this twist, the winner of the final immunity challenge no longer decides who sits beside them at Final Tribal. Instead, they choose one person to take, and the other two remaining contestants battle it out in a fire-making challenge for the third spot.
Why was that so controversial?
Heavily panned by critics and fans for several reasons. One, it was sprung on contestants without prior knowledge, totally changing endgame strategy. And two, many felt it severely undermined the significance of winning immunity and of the social game itself. Traditionally, winning final immunity gave you all the power to choose based on your social reads. This twist shifted power away from that nuanced maneuvering to a single, often less strategic, skill challenge. It frustrated many viewers who felt it cheapened the game's climax.
Okay, so we've taken a really deep dive into this hidden world of Survivor. We've peeled back layers on the intense casting, the surprising realities on the island for everyone involved, and that meticulous, sometimes creatively skirted rulebook. It's really a testament to the show's enduring appeal that it manages this complex web of production and regulation while still delivering compelling human drama year after year.
Indeed. We've seen how the show meticulously balances that raw human experience with very strategic casting and incredibly careful production. From the Dream Team testing challenges for camera angles and safety to the controversial decision to reenact scenes for better shots.
Yeah.
It's a complex ecosystem where every detail, from a contestant's choice of shoot color to a casting director's secret assessment of their archetype, plays a crucial part in crafting the narrative we ultimately see.
So, knowing how much of Survivor is carefully orchestrated, from the types chosen to the challenges to the rules they have to follow, how does that change your perception of the iconic outwit, outplay, outlast motto? And what in this intricate dance between authentic reality and deliberate production truly defines a soul Survivor in your eyes now?
It really raises that profound question of authenticity versus performance, doesn't it? Is the greatest outplay truly happening within the game dynamics on the beach?
Yeah.
The social maneuvering, the tribal councils? Or is it equally, maybe even more, about mastering the art of the audition, skillfully presenting your archetype, and navigating that unseen, often unwritten rulebook itself? Understanding how the entire game, including production, really works.
That's definitely something for you to mull over. We hope this deep dive has given you a fresh perspective on a show you thought you knew inside and out. Until next time, keep that curiosity burning.